I bet you have wondered about why some memories just will not fade, especially the ones that make you cringe. It is a common experience, almost universal, that those awkward, embarrassing, or painful moments seem to play on a loop in our minds, often at the least convenient times. Picture this. It is 3 in the morning, you are trying to sleep, and suddenly your brain decides to pull out the highlight reel of every social misstep you have ever made. That time you tripped in front of everyone? Replayed. That awkward thing you said 5 years ago? Fresh as yesterday. But where are all the fantastic moments? The triumphs, the laughs, the moments of pure joy? They seem to float away much more easily. Why do our brains seem to cling to the bad, while the good often feels so fleeting? Is this just you, or is there a deeper psychological explanation? Let me unpack this for you. What we are experiencing is largely due to something called the negativity bias. It is a fundamental aspect of human psychology where we tend to give more attention to and be more affected by negative experiences or information than positive ones. It starts with our evolutionary roots. For our ancient ancestors, survival was the name of the game. Being hyper-aware of potential threats and dangers was a matter of life and death. The brain did not evolve to make us happy. It evolved to keep us alive. Consider how this works. Imagine a prehistoric human. If they remembered the tasty berries but forgot about the poisonous ones, that is a problem. If they remembered the safe path but forgot the one with a predator, that is also a problem. Negative information carried a higher survival premium. The key is the amygdala, a small almond-shaped region deep within our brain. This is our brain's emotional control center, and it is particularly sensitive to fear and threat. It acts like an internal alarm system, instantly flagging anything potentially dangerous or harmful. When we encounter a negative experience, the amygdala fires up, creating a strong emotional response. This emotional intensity then tags the memory, making it more vivid and easier to recall later. It is like putting a big red warning label on that memory. What happens next is that this emotionally charged memory gets efficiently stored away, often with more detail and context than neutral or positive memories. Our hippocampus, responsible for forming and retrieving memories, works closely with the amygdala in this process. This is also why we have what are called flashbulb memories, extremely vivid, detailed, and long-lasting memories of an emotionally significant event. Often, these are tied to traumatic or highly negative experiences, though they can also be positive. Ultimately, the point is that our brains are incredibly efficient learning machines. If something negative happened, the brain wants to analyze it, understand it, and prepare for it in the future. It is a mechanism designed for learning from mistakes to ensure better outcomes next time. Building on that, it is not just about immediate danger. It extends to social interactions too. An embarrassing moment might signal a threat to our social standing, which, in evolutionary terms, could impact our survival within a group. So, those cringy moments are also tagged with importance. But it is not just biology. Our cognitive biases also play a huge role. One common bias is rumination. This is the tendency to repeatedly think about the same thoughts, usually negative ones, without actively seeking solutions. Think about it. The more we replay a negative memory, the stronger the neural pathways associated with it become. It is like carving a deeper groove in your brain every time you recall that awkward moment, making it even easier to access next time. Adding to that, confirmation bias can also come into play. If we believe we are clumsy or socially awkward, our brains might subconsciously prioritize memories that confirm these beliefs, reinforcing our negative self-perception. The result? Good memories, while lovely, often lack the same urgency or emotional intensity. They are like smooth pebbles compared to the sharp, jagged edges of negative ones. They do not demand the same level of processing or analysis, so they do not stick as readily. What we find is that our brains are, in a sense, Velcro for bad, Teflon for good. Negative experiences adhere easily and stubbornly, while positive ones tend to slide right off, requiring conscious effort to retain. This leads to a significant impact on our mental well-being. This constant replay of negative memories can contribute to anxiety, stress, and even exacerbate conditions like depression, creating a feedback loop of negative thinking. Here is where it all comes together. Understanding this bias is the first step. You are not alone, and it is not a flaw in your character. It is a feature of our ancient brain, trying to protect you, albeit imperfectly, in a modern world. But the good news is, we can influence this. Our brains are incredibly plastic, meaning they can change and adapt. We can intentionally work to strengthen pathways for positive memories and weaken the grip of negative ones. The process begins with mindfulness. Practicing mindfulness helps us observe our thoughts without judgment. When that cringe reel starts playing, instead of getting swept away, you can acknowledge it and gently redirect your attention. Next, consider cognitive reframing. This involves consciously changing the narrative around a negative memory. Instead of seeing it as purely embarrassing, can you find a lesson learned? A moment of growth? A funny story to tell later? Then something interesting happens. Actively practicing gratitude. By regularly focusing on the positive aspects of your life, you are essentially training your brain to seek out and register good experiences, building new, positive neural pathways. Journaling can also be incredibly powerful. Writing down your thoughts and feelings about a negative memory can help you process it, understand its root causes, and often dilute its emotional intensity. It moves it from a loop to a story with an ending. The foundation is also to consciously create more positive experiences. Engage in hobbies, spend time with loved ones, pursue new adventures. The more positive, emotionally rich memories you create, the more your brain has to draw upon. Where this takes us is interrupting the rumination cycle. When you catch yourself replaying a negative memory, consciously shift your focus. It could be through a mental task, engaging in an activity, or simply focusing on your breath. What emerges is a healthier way of processing memories. This is not about ignoring or suppressing bad experiences, but about preventing them from dominating your mental landscape and hijacking your present moment. What we discover is that if these strategies feel overwhelming, or if negative memories are significantly impacting your daily life, please consider seeking professional help. A therapist can provide tailored tools and support to navigate these patterns. Ultimately, the point is that you have more agency over your mind than you might realize. Your brain is not a static hard drive. It is a dynamic, ever-changing landscape. With intention and practice, you can cultivate a memory garden that favors growth and joy. The biggest lesson is that your brain's wiring for survival can be a double-edged sword, but understanding this gives you the power to consciously reshape your internal world. By acknowledging the negativity bias and actively implementing strategies, you can learn to give your good memories the spotlight they deserve.